Good morning. You're watching the TMI show with Ted Rall and Manila Chan, but that's not Manila Chan. That's producer Robbie West over to the right side of your screen.
So.
He's even cuter than Manila. Manila is out for we don't know how much longer, but she's now 1 week into dealing with her newborn child. From what I hear, pretty much they're raised by the second week, so we should have her back soon.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, she should be back right now. There's no reason why she should not be here in the chair instead of the second string guy sitting right here.
I've heard that 40-something female Laotians are an exceptionally boring group. Lazy group of people, and that they use motherhood as an excuse in order to not do their appointed tasks. That's what I've heard.
Well, I don't understand how that works because Laos is also on the Trump's ban list. So if they're lazy, why would you ban them? Because by definition, they're not going to be a threat.
Well, that's true. Well, I mean, lazy people tend to vote Democratic. So who even knows? Who knows anything, really?
That's true.
Thanks for tuning into TMI show. We're here every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Please like, follow, and share. Please post your comments in the live chat on YouTube and Rumble, and we will answer them as always. Robbie, you'll have to let me know if we have any ads. We have a full show today, and I'm determined not to let things go off the rails the way I did yesterday.
Yesterday was fun.
We'll see which one gets better ratings. I don't know the answer to that question.
Have you seen the numbers for yesterday's show?
Yeah, well, what are the numbers?
They're off the charts.
Are they really?
Oh yeah.
Stop.
No,
Really?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Especially once I start making the shorts. Well, I've got the shorts made. I just need to post them about the baby cookbook.
yes,
It's going to go viral because I'm going to blast them all over on X, on Rumble, here on YouTube. It'd be interesting to see how the community moderators work because they're so friendly. It's going to be amazing.
They are friendly.
Oh, they're awesome! Like they're always keeping you safe from unauthorized opinions and
Can't have
jokes.
unauthorized opinions.
No.
There's no good opinion that's unauthorized. All right, so let's go ahead and I will read through the stories here. All right, let's go first. James Comey, former FBI director, has been indicted over a social media post, as everyone should be, really, signaling a renewed effort by the DOJ to pursue charges against him after its last bid ended in failure last year. In a federal grand jury in the state of North Carolina has charged James Comey with making a threat against the president of the United States and transmitting that threat across state lines, i.e. the internet. The case centers on an image of, wait for it, seashells that Comey posted on Insta, the latest salvo in the Justice Department's efforts to satisfy the demands of Trump to go after targets of his wrath. Under acting AG Todd Blanche, the Department of Justice has sought to accelerate Trump's retribution campaign. So Comey says he'll fight the case. I'm still innocent. I'm still not afraid. And I believe in the independent federal judiciary. So let's go, he said in a video statement posted online. Comey urged Americans to keep the faith. And I just want to say that no one as old as James Comey or as old as I am should say, let's go. That's for my son to say. Anyway, the new Comey charge stems from an incident nearly a year ago when the former FBI director, vacationing on the coast of North Carolina, posted a photograph on social media depicting seashells arranged to say 8647, combining the slang term 86, often mean to dismiss or remove or to get rid of, with an apparent reference to Trump, who is, of course, the country's 47th president, as well as the 45th president. Robbie, I guess he could have written 6947, which would have been worse.
Definitely. But it's just what I'm just kind of talking about. You cannot have those unapproved jokes.
It's
dangerous.
It is. I know, and there's no term, by the way, there's no indication as to who arranged said seashells in such a way, or whether stones or sticks in the same pattern would have been created as much legal exposure. I don't really know. But anyway, after an uproar ensued over the post, Comey deleted it. By the way, that was a mistake. He should not have deleted it, because that's a tacit admission that you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Saying that he didn't know it could be seen as having a violent connotation. See, I think deep 6 and 86 are not the same thing. And that he opposed violence of any kind, despite having worked for a presidential administration. So that's hard to, I'm not sure I believe that he opposes violence of any kind. He can't really be FBI director and oppose violence. But anyway, members of the Trump administration, as well as the family, declared that the meaning of 86 is to kill, which is not true, and that the seashell message amounted to a threat to assassinate the president. I mean, at a certain point, Todd Blanche has to just feel, do you think he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's just like, what's wrong with me? I just indicted a guy over seashells.
To be honest, I don't think so, because that would require this thing called introspection, and I don't think you're allowed to have that if you work in DC. I don't think that you're allowed to have any kind of contrition. I don't think that you're allowed to actually look in a mirror.
No self-doubt.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you just always go through. And one thing that I've learned, and this actually runs counter to my beliefs as a Christian, because if you do something wrong, you should you're supposed to apologize and ask for forgiveness. I think that if you make a social media post, how you're now talking about what Comey did, you never apologize for it. You don't back down. If anything, you double down. Even if you're wrong, you double down on your wrongness, because if you forgive, If you ask for forgiveness or if you apologize, they're going to cancel you anyway. So what's the point?
Well, that's true. So if he was going to double down on 86, you're saying he should have written 172.47?
Absolutely. I mean, just start just coming out with these chat algorithms, or if you really want to just go in and just say Trump's stupidity is comparable to the value of pi, and then just let it go, just up a ticker.
Yeah. Or even get really, really obscure. Remember 2.818 something or other.
I have no idea what that is. Enlighten me. What is E? You got to remember, I'm retarded.
Well, so pi is one of those, right? Pi is the ratio between the circumference of a circle and I think it's the diameter of a circle, right?
Yeah.
So it's 3.141592657 or something like that.
Yeah,
and it goes on and on.
It never stops.
Yeah, it never stops, but it's not recurring numbers. So E is like 2.818 something. And so anyway, it's a logarithmic pattern. And among other things, it's like the ratio, it occurs in nature and all sorts of things. Like it's the ratio of like the size of the chambers of a chambered nautilus. It's like the most inherently pleasing ratio to hold a card, like regardless of its size. The length of the card should be roughly 2.8 times the width of the card. I mean, it comes up, but it's used a lot in finance, and it's used in logarithms to the extent that anybody still uses, manual calculation for anything like that, which is not at all. But it's it's in math. Anyway, according to the court records, Judge Louise Flanagan of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina, she's a George W. Bush appointee, has been placed in charge of this extremely important seashell-based case. At a news conference, FBI Director Kash Patel, aka Googly Eyes, said that Comey disgracefully encouraged a threat on Trump's life and posted it on Instagram for the world to see. Well, yes, for the world to see, that's true. The indictment, this part, is how you really can sort of read between the lines. The indictment is 3 pages. 3 pages. Now, a federal indictment of a former FBI director on anything, they clearly don't take it seriously themselves, the people who are filing this case. I mean, it's basically like a speeding ticket. 3-page indictment is bullshit. Anyway, the indictment makes a similar claim, asserting that a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret the message written in seashells as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to President Trump. Comey did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States, the document charges. So let's follow this logically. I just want to be clear here. So, Robbie, the assertion that very high-minded, serious six-figure earning members of the federal government who we employ as taxpayers are arguing that someone might be walking on the beach in North Carolina, come across this display of seashells, and be inspired to assassinate President Trump.
Well, I mean,
right?
It is a well-known fact that people who live in coastal areas where there are seashells tend to be prone.
Not as many as there used
violence.
To be, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what they do is that the shells actually drive you crazy. Now, don't get me started on the sand dollars, because you pick up a sand dollar.
That's true.
And especially if they're broken, because you see this beautiful creation, right? And then you pick it up on the beach and it's broken. What it does
so sad.
Is that it drives you into the depths of depression that's so great that you must go find an orange pig to assassinate. And if you cannot find an orange pig, then you must find a human that resembles an orange pig.
You must.
It's a law of nature. It's like gravity.
There's no getting away from it. Does it also apply to sea cucumbers in the shape of 8647?
No, because sea cucumbers are not cute. They puke their guts out if they feel threatened. Like they actually expel their bowels.
They do.
And so that's not cute. Now you can make the case potentially that seahorses can have that same effect.
But they don't. There's not many seahorses, I think, that live in the United States.
No, there's not. It really, as someone who lived on the Gulf Coast, used to walk up and down the white sand beaches of Bonita Key before Exxon destroyed the island with their oil spill. I used to walk up and down the island picking up sand dollars, and every time I would pick up a broken one, there's this urge of just to commit mass violence,
mayhem.
It was overwhelming.
Well, it's well known that that's how the Columbine shootings began. That they were inspired by a broken sand dollar on the beaches of Colorado.
No, it was worse than that. As a girl, she brought a sand dollar. She was on vacation. She went to South Carolina, and she no, I'm sorry, North Carolina. She went to the Grand Banks. No. This is not. I'm giving you an inside scoop here. It was a girl who went on a family vacation to the Grand Banks of North Carolina. She found an intact sand dollar. She was showing it to her friends in the library, and she dropped it and broke it.
No.
And that's what triggered the whole thing.
So, okay. So in all seriousness here, an arrest warrant has been issued for James Comey. It is not immediately clear whether the authorities will allow him to self-surrender. My understanding is that he's collaborating with the creatures of the sea against the president, and he may be living on the coral reef now and protected by SpongeBob and his associates.
I wonder if it's because the ocean temperature is rising, and so this is big sea life trying to force some kind of change. Well, because they're going to go extinct if something doesn't happen with all the plastic and stuff.
True.
And so it's a pure act of self-defense. It is an act of aggression that the orange pig is waging against the aquatic life in the oceans.
True.
So listen, I can understand where they're coming from. If you're being threatened with mass extinction, the destruction of not only your species but the entire sea chain, the entire food chain, the entire ecology of the oceans, would you, Ted Rall, not go and pick up however many sharp, pointy shells as you can to wage war against the primates who are trying to kill you?
It's such a good point. And of course, also there's the fact that, a seashell, especially if broken, can form a jagged shard, and is by definition a weapon of mass destruction.
Very much so. That's where Israel, instead of dropping bombs on Gaza, especially since Gaza's right there on the shore of the Mediterranean, they should have been dropping seashells. They could have annihilated the entire population like 4 times over, and done it in an ecologically sound way.
Yes, they could have. Well, now you know. So,
I thought this show was going to go off the rails.
And by the way, if you do see James Comey, please turn him in for seashell terrorism.
Yes,
because he's considered armed and dangerous and in league with the moray eels and other carnivorous creatures of the deep blue.
Well, I'm telling you, he is definitely in with big sea life.
big sea life is the worst sea life. All right, let's keep going here.
Have you seen how big the whales are?
Oh yeah,
they're huge.
Well, by the way, the thing about those blubbery fucks is they're causing climate change, because people say like, oh, it's climate change. It's due to the oceans are rising because of the heat. That's not true. It's the whales. They're so fucking fat that they're displacing all the water. And, it's literally big whale. And it's just the waters keep rising because of those fat fucks.
Oh, 100%.
Big blubber.
Well, also, they pee in the water. Think about it.
True.
They pee in the pool.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, that's like why sometimes you have that funky smell when you come off the beach. You're like, oh, it's just a little microscopic sea life on your skin. No. That's ambergris piss.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. The Supreme Court will consider whether the Trump administration can immediately end humanitarian protections that have allowed hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians to live and work legally in the U.S. I know you have no opinions about this at all, Robbie, which I put the story in there. President Trump has moved to terminate temporary protected status program which has provided humanitarian relief to migrants from more than a dozen nations by allowing them to settle temporarily in the U.S. These two cases involve more than 350,000 Haitians and 6,000 Syrians that Trump wants to expel from the U.S., potentially forcing them to return to dangerous conditions back in their home countries. The court's ruling, expected in late June or early July, will probably have implications for more than 1 million people from other nations whose protections under the program the administration also wants to get rid of. The justices fast-tracked these cases, scheduling for the final day of arguments in a court term that began in October. It always begins in October, and has already included challenges to other aspects of Trump's agenda. In February, they ruled against his tariffs, and they will soon decide whether he can get rid of birthright citizenship. And so at issue here is a program created back in 1990 with bipartisan support that gives Homeland Security Secretary authority to grant temporary refuge to citizens of nations affected by armed conflict, natural disaster, or other catastrophes if they're already in the U.S. The Secretary periodically reviews those protections, terminates or extends them for certain nations. It lays out that the Secretary must consult with federal agencies, review conditions in a country, and then make a decision based on those assessments. Lawyers for the Haitians and the Syrians said that Kristi Noem, who until March 24th was the extremely competent, very kind, and not at all strange-looking Homeland Security Secretary, who is very loyal to her very normal husband, failed to take those steps. Instead, they accuse her of ending the programs based on political consideration and Trump's orders. Class action lawsuits were filed by TPS holders, including engineers, students, doctors, and caregivers who want to continue to work and live in the U.S. because their lawyers say they could be killed if they have to go back to Syria or Haiti. I have a lot of thoughts. My main one, before I let you wade in as if into a pool of dangerous sea life, is that there's the question of whether this program should exist at all. But it does, and it will until the Supreme Court rules, and it might continue to exist after that. But clearly, the administration's argument is, well, it should be temporary. And like the Haitians have had the status for 10 years, that's not temporary. I'm just going to say that's a lame argument because like Haiti has been a dangerous hellhole for at least 10 years. So it's like, and 10 years can be temporary. If something ends after 12 years, it was temporary. It's like, that's a dumb fucking argument. I think the broader question here is whether the program should exist at all.
No, it shouldn't exist at all. And also, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program. So let's just let's not pretend otherwise, okay? As far as the Syrians and as far as the Haitians and the Mexicans and the Venezuelans and the Cubans and every other kind of isms that's out there, you can all be deported. You can all go back home. America's full. Go fix your countries. Now, for example, Haiti. The Haitian people have agency. They can fix their country if they so chose to do so. For whatever reason.
Well, if France and then the U.S. had left them the fuck alone, they could.
Well, listen, they've been an independent country now for 200 years, and those 200 years, it's been
not very independent. They've had a U.S. dictator, two U.S.-backed dictators at least, right? Raping those countries, Papa Doc and Baby Doc Duvalier. They elected a Catholic priest, right? Jean-Bertrand Aristide, and George W. Bush kidnapped him, Venezuela style, and sent him to the Central African Republic and dumped him in the middle of nowhere. The Haitian people are hardworking, smart people, but they're not being allowed to do their own. They're not being left alone to run their country their way.
Okay, why does their entire country look like a dump?
Because of what I just said. And not to mention Bill Clinton wasn't very helpful either.
Listen, at the end of the day, and I get what you're saying, but you're right here on the same island, right? You have the Dominican Republic to the east, you have Haiti to the west. One of those two countries works. It's a functional state.
Yeah.
And they're
one of them's a U.S. vassal and the other one's not.
Well, the other's not even really a country. So if you had to pick between one or the other, maybe you decide to be a vassal because you realize like Ukraine, like Belarus, like Mexico, like Cuba. If you decide to put your country in the backyard of a great power, you kind of sort of got to play by those rules because geography is a thing. For whatever reason, the Haitians have never been able to form a society that actually works. They just haven't. And as far as Syria, I have more sympathy for them because we did install an Al Qaeda head chopper as their president with the help of
Mhm.
Israel. But again, though, we do not have the obligation in any way, shape, or form to take care of you at the expense of our own populations.
I mean, it's true that when I read the part about here, I'll read this again. Um, what were the jobs that they mentioned here? Um, they said specifically, what was it? Doctors or something like that? Oh yeah, engineers,
Mhm.
students, doctors, and caregivers.
Sure,
We have tons of engineers,
we do, and
who
we have
are
lots of doctors.
unemployed and underemployed.
Do you know who needs doctors and engineers? A country like Haiti that is a failed state in every way, shape, or form. They can't even figure out basic sanitation. So if you want to fix that country, then what you do is you invest in making your country a better place. That's what you do. And they're not doing that. Instead, for no, and listen, I get it. No, our immigration policy is broken. We want brain drain. We want to bring people here because we don't want to educate our own population. We also want to weaken other countries by sucking out all their smart people. I get it. I understand it. Do I like it? No. I think it's a betrayal of the American people. I think it's betrayal of the American state, and it's the intellectual rape of other countries all around the world.
But look,
If you're a proud Haitian,
mhm.
if you're out there and you're waving your Haitian flag there in Miami, then by all means, please go back to
But
Haiti
it
and
is
make it
we
better.
do look. I think they should go back to Haiti, but I also we owe them reparations, right?
No, we don't.
So back, U.S. Marines invaded them in 1915 for fun because we were afraid that Germany was going to take over Haiti. We occupied them from 1915 to 1934.
Haiti would have been
We
listen.
censored
Haiti
the
would
press. We murdered thousands of people who tried to rebel and kick us out. We ended up creating dictatorship goon squads. We destroyed their economy, looted their natural resources. I mean, we're
okay.
assholes.
Let me. Do you remember the conversation that we had on the Robbie versus Ted debate that we had a couple weeks ago about climate change?
Yeah.
And one of these we talked about that we agreed on is that if there's a country and if the population of that country is completely inept, if they are completely functionally retarded and they cannot get their act together and they are destroying the environment in which they live, which Haiti is, then you don't have the right to be a sovereign, independent state. Did I misrepresent what we agreed on?
Yeah, I think
Just
that's
now?
true. Yeah.
Then, if that's the case, if Haiti is a failed state and they
It
don't
is
have
a failed state, but
and they don't,
that's
eh,
our fault.
then we should. Then you know what? Then great. Then what we can do is that we can be those imperialist white assholes. We can annex the country. We can just take it. We can make it
Well,
the 51st state.
we could easily do that.
And
That's
then
true.
we can go in and we can fix it, and we impose law and order with whatever that means, and then you get called racist for it because, oh my God, do you have any idea what you're doing to those poor Haitians? Yeah, I do. We're going in there, we're kicking ass, busting heads, and we're installing order. So you can't have it both ways. Either it's a failed state with a population that cannot manage the country, or you get taken over like Roman style, and you have this thing called civilization
But we
foisted upon you.
but I hate to say it, we're one of the countries that is a failed state and can't manage to run its own affairs.
Oh, I agree. So that's my question. Why
So
do you
who's going to occupy us while we're occupying Haiti?
No, that's a good question. If I had to pick a guess, probably in 50 years, probably the Chinese and the Russians will carve us up.
Yeah, they'll have
Honestly,
to.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's what would happen. But until that happens, though, until we implode, until we disintegrate, uh, no, and you made the case better than I could. Baltimore is a complete dysfunctional hellscape. So we don't need to import hundreds of thousands of people from other dysfunctional hellscapes. We can send them back to the countries from which they came and then work on our own issues here. Once there's no more Americans living under bridges and everyone is able to earn a living wage, and if you want to buy a house, you can off of a single income. Once you're able to do that, you know what? If you want to go and you want to pick up the white man's burden and try to fix Haiti, go with God. Do as you will. But until that time, sorry, Haitians, you're sovereign, you're independent. Fix your own damn country. It is not my fault, not my problem. And last time I checked, the United States does not own you. You own yourself.
But we should pay reparations.
Okay, great then. Know what? How they're getting reparations right now? All of the remittances that the dog-eating Haitians send to Haiti, even now that they're here. There's your reparations.
Don't forget the cats.
Listen, the dogs are more important than the cats.
No, excuse me. That's just Big Dog talking.
But who do you think has the bigger lobby, Big Dog or Big Seafood?
I know Big Dog. Oh, God, that's a good question. Well, there's more creatures in the sea, but dogs seem to have an outlined. Dogs are like the Israelis of the animal kingdom when it comes to influence on America, right? I mean, when you go by like a veterinary clinic, there's always a giant picture of a dog, and then maybe there's a little cat next to it. Maybe. I mean, I've always thought that was philophobic.
Well, I mean, we do know that cats are actually an agent that the humans use because it's well known that cats like to eat fish.
So,
I mean, I think that's part of the problem.
So you think that like the big fish, Big C is like anti-cat?
I think so. I think that you can make a political alliance of convenience between Big Cat and the humans against Big Seafood. But to kind of bring this back to Haiti, listen, and listen, I get how this sounds. All right, I am a small government guy. I want a government that's so small I can drown in the bathtub. That being said, there are some countries in this world that do not deserve the right to exist. And a lot of them are in the Caribbean and a lot of them are in Africa. And if you can't manage yourself, someone else should manage your country for you.
All right. And with that, let's keep moving on. All right. The U.S. State Department said yesterday that it's preparing a limited release of commemorative U.S. passports celebrating America's 250th birthday that feature a president of who, Robbie? Can you guess?
I'm going to assume it's going to be President Donald John Trump. And you know what? Me and Kizzy, we're actually thinking about getting our passports.
Oh my God!
And so because we don't have passports.
Yeah.
And so me and Kizzy and Thomas, we're going to get passports. And I think that the best thing we could do, honestly, is get the Trump passport, because nothing would fill me with more patriotic awe whenever I go to the Roosevelt Crossing and go up into Canada to present my passport with the picture of the best president in American history, Donald Trump.
James Buchanan.
No, listen, and the Canadians, they're actually just jealous of Trump. That's what it is. We have a real leader.
You can tell. And he's much better looking than Keir Starmer.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Sorry, not Keir Starmer, Mark Carney. I always confuse those two.
Well, I mean, they look the same.
They're kind of, they're pasty white people. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so the concept for the special passport, including a rendering of Trump's stern-looking face, had been under consideration for months before finally becoming approved late Monday. Between 25,000 and 30,000 of the new passports, Robbie, will be available to applicants, but only at the Washington D.C. passport office, beginning shortly before the 4th of July. It's the latest instance of Trump having his name and likeness added to buildings, documents, and other highly visible tributes. Don't forget the coin. There are also efforts to put his signature on all U.S. paper currency, a first for a sitting president, as well as to put his face on a gold commemorative coin to celebrate the country's founding. The commemorative passport will be the default document for people applying in person in Washington. Anyone who wants a regular, non-pedophile enabling passport will be able to get one by applying online or outside Washington. The limited release passport will have Trump's face over a gold imprimatur of his signature to an interior page The cover will say United States of America in gold, in bold. What color print, Robbie?
If I had to hazard a guess, I would have to say purple. A nice, vibrant purple. Because that would go along with the gold.
Gold. And passport at the bottom, a reversal of the standard cover. And can you imagine, by the way, flying into Kabul International Airport and presenting this passport? I mean, the fact that it's American is bad enough.
Yeah.
In addition, a small gold laminate American flag, classy, with the number 250 encircled by stars, will be at the bottom of the back cover. The only presidents featured in current passports are in a double-page depiction of Mount Rushmore in South Dakota, which, of course, is George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln.
I mean, no, seriously. I wasn't kidding about me and Kizzy talking about getting passports.
And you could go to Washington and get a Trump passport if you were so inclined.
Well, I've never been to Washington, D.C. And so one of the things—
it's worth going to.
So one of the things we talked about is going there, walk around, seeing the Capitol, seeing the White House. I'm more interested in the old historical battlefields and stuff. Like, I would love to go to Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go to Manassas. I would like to go to Fredericksburg. I like to go to those old places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just go to see the cemeteries and the history there. But I don't think I could pass up the chance of getting a Trump passport.
Well, I mean, it will be unusual, and in the future, your children will go through your expired passports and find it, and they'll say, "What the fuck is this?"
No, exactly. Well, the thing is, this is funny that you brought that up, because last night me and Thomas were talking,
mm-hmm.
and as families do, I asked Thomas. I said, "No, I have a question for you, sincerely. When I'm no longer here, when I've been removed from my mortal coil, what kind of things will you remember about me the most?" And
your passport, your Trump passport, is the answer to that question.
Well, the Trump passport is definitely going to be the answer, but I did not know about the Trump passport when we said this. So what he was talking about is, before, is like, I like most things that are potentially illegal and very very offensive. Definitely, that would be at the top of the list. How you tend to be honest with people, even when you shouldn't be honest with them. Like the pastor of our church, when you say that he's supporting a genocidal Nazi country called Israel,
mm-hmm.
which probably most people would shy away from saying that to their preacher. I didn't. But I mean, I think that the Trump passport, that would have to be one of the most memorable artifacts.
No, that's true.
That I could ever give him.
Part of, as a collector of weird ephemera and political ephemera, I know that will be a collectible item. I mean, there's only going to be 25 to 30,000 of them. There are millions of other normal passports. They will be sought after by collectors in the future.
Now, one thing that I want to do, and I don't know if this will ever happen, Ted, but honestly, this is something I would love to do, is have the chance to go to Iran and meet normal Iranian people.
The Trump passport.
And so going there with a Trump passport really would kind of make me wonder, like, would I actually make it out of the airport alive?
Would you be executed? And could you complain if you were, really?
Well, that's just the thing, right?
You have it coming, really.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, listen. If Trump didn't just completely wuss out, and if he invaded Denmark, I could see the value of the Trump passport, because he could be like the new President Polk, American blood on American soil, or in this case, dog sled blood on American soil. Just pick one. I don't think a shot would be fired in anger. I think the Dutch would just do what the French do and just leave.
The Danes. I don't think the Dutch would care.
Oh, the Danes, yeah, whatever. But that's the same thing. It's all the same. But at least then, Trump could wrap himself in the manner of Polk or McKinley, because McKinley, he defeated Spain. He dismantled the Cuban Empire. He got us the Philippines. Polk, conquered the entire southwestern part of the United States.
Mhm. All
Trump
true.
could have taken this huge, massive piece of
Of ice.
tundra
Mhm.
and called it Trumpistan.
True.
But he didn't.
Trumplandia. Or he could
But
have named it Melania.
yeah, but he didn't do it.
Melania. Melania
So,
sounds like the name of a fictional country, doesn't it?
oh, for sure.
Outer Melania, I would call it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think
Because
that
he doesn't know anything about inner Melania, because I'm not sure he's ever been in Melania.
Well, I was just telling that there's actually a book in the Bible called Melania. It's right there by 2 Corinthians, and
Really?
he would 100% believe it.
Yeah, he would. Well, we know he's a devout scholar of the Bible. All right, let's keep moving, because this one I got to talk to you about.
Deport the Haitians. Deport them all.
Here we go. Tapestries embroidered with Quranic verses were shipped from the Kaaba in Mecca, Islam's holiest shrine. Tiles came from a mosque in Uzbekistan. A golden metal dome was made to replicate the architecture of ancient Syria. Jeffrey Epstein, America's finest and most ethical export, spent years making connections across the Middle East in pursuit of business deals and 2 intertwined hobbies: acquiring rare Islamic artifacts with which to decorate an unusual building on his private island, and expanding his network of wealthy, powerful people. Through connections that extended into the royal court of Saudi Arabia, Epstein secured a meeting with Mohammed bin Salman, best friend of American journalists, now Saudi crown prince, and also obtained elaborate tapestries that once adorned these sacred spaces inside the Kaaba and covered its exterior walls. Epstein's dual passions were encapsulated in a photo from 2014 in which he poses with Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, a prominent Emirati executive, as they admire one such tapestry splayed on the floor of Epstein's New York townhouse. Like others in Epstein's orbit, bin Sulayem was ultimately brought down by his association with Epstein. Earlier this year, he was forced to resign as the head of DP World, a Dubai ports company. The ways in which Epstein, who killed himself in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges, sought to concurrently expand his network and his art collection are further revealed in the millions of pages of records released by the Department of Justice. Those documents resolve a lingering mystery about a strange building on Little St. James, otherwise known as Epstein Island, whose construction and decoration was a years-long obsession for the financier. The building, which you and I have talked about as a possible temple of Baal, a blue and white striped structure topped with a golden dome, has been variously described as a music room, pavilion, chapel, even an occult temple for, Baal or Moloch. Sure. But correspondence between Epstein and his associates over many years, and an interview with an artist hired to work on it, actually reveal its intended purpose. For Epstein, the building was a mosque. Epstein had a long-standing fixation on Islamic design. In 2003, he told Vanity Fair that he owned the largest Persian rug you'll ever see in a private home, so big it must have come from a mosque. His vision for an island shrine began while he was in Palm Beach County, Florida jail, having pled guilty to soliciting prostitution. Before his release, he hired architects to design a hammam, a Turkish bathhouse surrounded by Islamic gardening, according to his correspondence. He got rid of that idea and instead applied for a permit for a music room in a building he called Five Palms, emailing himself design ideas, including images of ancient Middle East mosques. In 2011, he wrote to a contact in Uzbekistan. I just want to point out, this is the second or third time this week we've talked about Uzbekistan here on the show, seeking authentic tiles. It will be for the inside walls like a mosque, he said. Ion Nicola, a Romanian artist, was hired for the project. In an interview in March, Nicola confirmed that Epstein regularly called his building his mosque. It remains unclear if he intended that the building ever be used as an actual mosque. So I thought that was an interesting follow-up to our discussion with the professor, Professor Fleming, concerning the alleged Temple of Baal on the property of Epstein.
Well, I mean, Islam has a very long history with harems, so I could see that. You could definitely go in and make that case. Uh,
he might just like the aesthetic. I mean, I do.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, Islamic art is beautiful. No, that rug that you got on the floor right there behind you, that thing just looks awesome. I mean, one of the things, if I was ever able to, is I would like to go and go and see Central Asia. I would love to go to Kazakhstan. Just go and see. I know it's a majority Muslim country. I would do everything I could to
it's
fix
secular
that.
Muslim.
I would do everything I could to make it a fundamentalist Baptist country. I bet you I bet you I can make that happen. But seriously, I mean the culture, the calligraphy, it's awesome. I think it looks really awesome. I mean, you can definitely see where they borrowed, and I use that word very loosely, kind of like how the Japanese borrow cultures from around the world. How they borrowed Greek and Roman culture, especially with their domes and their arches and stuff. But the calligraphy, I think, is just very beautiful, and I like the rugs. I bet your Clovis likes that rug too.
Yeah, he does. He likes to scritch it. And of course, the thing about Asian carpets is a lot of them, especially from Central Asia and Afghanistan, are treated with camel piss, and so cats go crazy because they're like, some crazy animal has been here and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I can eat it or if it would eat me, but they roll around on it especially when you first bring them in, they lose their minds. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. Is that way in Western China, like in Xi'an?
Xi'an.
No,
you pronounce it Xi'an.
Xi'an. Listen, again, I submit to you, I'm retarded.
Oh, it's quite all right.
So look, it says it says Xian. So I just said how.
Yeah, it's Xi'an. Yeah.
But is that way they're like to do the China? Well, I guess the Han Chinese are being imported, so they're probably not pissing on.
Well, Xi'an's not. What's so funny is it's west of Beijing, and so it was at one point in the same way that like Ohio was the western frontier of the United States. Xi'an was the western frontier of China, but it's like by contemporary standards, it's in eastern China.
Gotcha. But is it still majority Uyghur, or is it more Han Chinese now?
Oh, it's no, it hasn't been. It's never been Uyghur. Xi'an's not Uyghur.
What province am I thinking about then?
You're thinking of Xinjiang, which is west. It's 1/6 of China, and it's got the biggest. The administrative capital is called Urumqi. It's sort of spelled. It sort of looks like Urumqi. Urumqi, and then Kashgar or Kashur, it's just how they pronounce it in parts of China. That's the ancient Silk Road city, where that's kind of like the intellectual and cultural capital of Xinjiang. And that's like the capital of like what would be Uyghur if they ever got their own country.
Gotcha. So that was what was going on. I was getting them confused because my little Anglo brain was looking at these foreign names. I'm telling you, I would 100% go live in rural China. The language barrier, though, at least I figured it out, would be brutal.
It would be brutal, no question. I mean, look, I think I don't know how good Google Translate is. I suspect it would help you enormously. You literally just dictate like, "Hello, I'm wondering if I can crash at your house for the night." You just hold your phone up,
Yeah, it's like, please help me.
Jeffrey Epstein. That is a very attractive girl you have there. Can I purchase her? How much would she cost?
Manchild wants to know if we can have a show where Robbie tries to pronounce Chinese words. Listen, I tried my best. when I lived in Brazil, I did my absolute best to speak Portuguese because when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And sure. I wanted to show respect to the people that were there. They were my hosts, and I wanted to show respect. And everywhere I went, the Brazilians would laugh their butts off because they said I sound like a drunk 2-year-old out of a Western. And I can 100% see where they're coming from, but they appreciated the effort. And I was able to go places where tourists are allowed to go. So that was fun. I would do the same thing in China. I would 100% butcher their language. I'm going to assume that
it's a really fucking hard language. I mean, look, Mao Zedong said that it's like a language that's hard for the people from that country to learn as their first language. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, look how many dialects they have, and they don't have an alphabet. So, I mean, that's the part of the problem. It's all pictographs. So,
Right.
so the
And the
alphabet.
tone issue. There's so many tones, right? Like, so let's say like the word, cat, right? Like, so like if you had, there's like cat is one word. Cat means something completely unrelated. Cat would mean something completely unrelated to that.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's rough.
yeah. So I could accidentally, I could ask, hey, where can I go buy some dinner, and imply that I want to take your wife to bed and eat your dog. I mean,
Right. It's
and then,
dangerous.
oh, for sure, because people get mad about that, especially if your name is Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Yeah, they may have heard of you. So all right, so let's get back to so this thing, does this story now does that eliminate your suspicion that this island, the Epstein Island, had a temple to the Babylonian god Baal on it?
No, I think it's a temple of Baal.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
I really do. Just from the architecture and the things they were saying, just a lot of the stuff that came out in the chart and the emails
The
and stuff.
architecture looks like it came out of Syria, though. They compared it to like some Syrian temples. It looks
But yeah,
exactly the same.
well, that's where Baal was big there. I mean, you got to remember, like for example, well, more so Moloch in Israel, because okay, Bible history time. So after Solomon, his son Rehoboam took over. Because of Solomon's sin, uh, Israel was the land was divided. The curse that God gave Solomon is that your son will not rule over the country over you because of your apostasy. So Judah and Israel were split apart, and when the Assyrians came and they conquered Syria and they conquered they conquered northern Israel. Before that happened, Moloch was huge there, and so was Baal, and so a lot of those temples, they were all over the place there, and so that's I mean, to say that it comes from Syria is 100% accurate, because that's where the religion was at.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I got to say, I mean, to me, this seems like a pretty well documented story. It seems to me like it's pretty clear that Epstein had an interest in Orientalia and
Oh, for
he
sure.
and Islamic shit. A lot of people do. A lot of, and it sounds like it was just if he talked about it as his mosque over and over again, even to the architect who
But
was
the thing is,
outfitting it. What's he? I mean, I guess you could argue he's not going to say this is my Baal temple. Okay, I get that, but
well, the thing is, I mean, even as wicked of a religion as Islam is, definitely historically, I mean, it was founded by a warlord. So
wait,
let's
why?
just kind
So
of.
wait, why is it a wicked? Why is Islam a wicked religion? So like a couple weeks ago, we got into some hot water with some
Yeah,
listeners because you said Judaism was a wicked religion.
yeah.
So when you say that, what do you mean?
So what I mean is that the Prophet Muhammad, according to Islam, is the greatest man that ever lived. Let's look at his resume. He was a warlord. He was a slave trader. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands, or maybe even tens of thousands of people. The religion that he founded was spread by the sword. Christianity was spread by missionaries, notably no Paul. At one time, North Africa was predominantly Christian. There's a reason why nowadays it's not. Islam had the Janissaries, the blood tax. The death penalty for leaving Islam is death for apostasy. There is no penalty for leaving Christianity, because when the issue of apostasy was brought up, the Apostle John said, "Well, they were never of us to begin with, so it doesn't matter. Let them go their own way." Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about biblical Christianity. I'm not talking about Catholicism. That's an entirely different thing. Catholicism, in a lot of ways, is a lot like Islam, is a political system masquerading as a religion. But what I am talking about, though, is the founding tenets of the country, or of the religion. If your religion teaches you have to go and find a Christian, and the Jew and the rocks and the trees will call out for you to kill them, that's not a loving act. That is a hateful act, is a genocidal act. And again, I have friends who are Muslims. Bangerina, love her to death, great friend of mine. If she heard me say this, I'm sure it would piss her off and offend her. I apologize if that's the case, but that is my opinion, and history backs me up.
Well, so I want to be clear. You're not saying that Muslims or Jews are wicked people.
No, I'm saying Islam. I'm saying the religion of Islam itself is a religion because, like Catholicism, it is a governmental system that masquerades as a religion, and Islam has never had a reformation, unlike Christianity.
Hmm.
That's the point that I'm making. And if you have one religion that says love your neighbor as yourself, and then you have another religion that says if you don't convert, we take you over, then you have to pay. You have to if you don't convert, you have to pay a tax or we kill you. That's not a loving and tolerant religion. The word Islam itself means submission. Submission to what?
To Allah.
Exactly. And so if your God says I can marry 3 women, and if you leave the religion, I will kill you, and I'm under no obligation to tell the truth to my enemies, and that I can invade you and I can conquer you. Oh, and by the way, I can also take your sons and turn them into janissaries because of the blood tax. You cannot, on one hand, say that, and then on the flip side, say it's a religion of peace. It is not a religion of peace. Read the book. I have.
All right. With that, I'm going to say we ran a tight show. We're going to see which one gets the better ratings tomorrow. And we'll talk about that.
Hey, listen, this is just more controversial because of social and religious issues. Yesterday, we were talking about grilling babies and what the best barbecue sauce to use was for them.
True. So we'll see which is more off the rails. Guys, thanks everyone for tuning in. TMI show with Ted Rall and Manila Chan is every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time, deprogram with myself and Jamal Thomas at 9 a.m. Also Monday through Friday. So and tomorrow is the DMZ America podcast at 11 a.m. That's only on Thursdays. Me and Scott Stantis talking about cartooning and politics mainly. I don't even know who we're going to interview tomorrow or if we're going to interview anyone. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Robbie, I'll see you tomorrow. Manila Chan, keep getting better. Yep. And we look forward to having you back. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and ciao.
Hopefully, I'll stop pissing people off. That would be probably good for the ratings.
You love it. Bye.
Bye.